I'm finding it extremely hard to believe the fact that we were literally the second to last heat battle for the season. This year is going by way too quickly, and I'm getting scared. In any cases, welcome back to Hexbots Series 4, Heat N. Last time in Heat M, we saw the destructive onslaught of Pushover managing to escape his way to the tournament, and this year's 4th of July special champion Viper Shot going through, as well as the rookies Gargoyle escaping death to go to the 3rd place Desperado tournament. Now this time we have the runners-up of said 4th of July special champion, an updated robot, a robot we threw in, the rookie from last year, and the rookie of this year. Without further ado, let's get started. First, from Flint, Michigan, Flippy. Charging into the arena is Flippy with the brand new Bucket Scoop Flipper. It's been doing pretty good in the 4th of July, in the recent one, the 4th of July special, getting the 2nd place spot. Strengths, it's a very versatile flipper. However, weaknesses, it's been falling off lately. From Wildwood, New Jersey, Heartburst Redux. I still don't really know why Heartburst is still competing, but great news, it's back. Lovebug is dead, and strengths, it actually has a weapon for once. However, weaknesses, pretty much everybody that's watching this video. From Isle of Sheppey, United Kingdom, Ragnarok. A robot that should be definitely destined to make the bracket. Ragnarok has their giant chunky wedge and their cleaving axe. They haven't really gone far since besides the heat stages. Strengths, it's got a big wedge. Weaknesses, wedges. From Bismarck, North Dakota, Hardware. The newly updated Hardware is in the arena with a somewhat brand new scheme, and now instead of a rather crappy looking wedge, it has a better wedge. Strengths, it beat Spikosaurus last time. Weaknesses, it's not really as strong as Duck. And from Sparks, Nevada, Mantis. One of the rookies of all time, Mantis comes in with their flailing puncher. Well, with strengths, it's got a really unique weapon. We've never seen a puncher before in the series. However, weaknesses, it's got a major high ground clearance. An impressive lineup for the second to last heat. As to kick things off, we have the runners-up, the recent new 4th of July special championship is Flippy. He did lose to Viper Shot, if you probably forgot. And in the red square is Heartburst. However, the Mad Lads actually pulled something off this year. They didn't just stick with the same bloody thing for the past 3 years. Instead, they've actually have a weapon this year. So let's see if they could actually pull something off, although I'm extremely doubtful as they're going up against Flippy of all robots. But in any cases, let's see it down in the box. 3, 2, 1... Let the battle begin. Heartburst up to speed, and Flippy trundling along with their Bucket Scoop Flipper. Heartburst looking to see what they could do with their brand new spinner. They're already being lifted up by Flippy to start the fight. Flippy getting that Bucket Scoop underway. It's getting underneath of Heartburst as it's doing the damage onto the side of Flippy. Flippy is trying to get a hold of Heartburst Redux and try and flip him over, but doesn't really look like it. It looks like that little back panel on the back is preventing him from being lifted. So good for them on the design and not stick with the same pusher for 4 seasons. So at least the designers actually thought of Heartburst's design before they just smoked a bunch. Anyways, how effective even is that weapon on Heartburst? I don't really think it's doing much. Flippy's mainly just doing all the work, scooping up Heartburst and presumably trying to flip him over, but it doesn't really seem it wants to, as it has a good hold of him. It tries to flip him, but Heartburst is still staying in the arena. It's going to take a lot more to take down Heartburst. Maybe the screws could probably help. Heartburst manages to get free and is now trying. It had the low ground clearance there for a second, but Flippy is right back for seconds trying to flip over Heartburst again, but that little back piece on the back preventing it from being lifted over. Again, a good design there for the team of Heartburst. Now trying to flip Heartburst. Flippy almost had an opportunity, but just couldn't get the perfect timing. But now they do it again, and they flip Heartburst on their back. And I don't think Heartburst is going to get back up from that. Well, at least they thought of everything, but not a self-rider. Flippy get the first 3 points. What a victory for this robot. Well, that was rather a pretty funny fight, as Heartburst just gets... To their credit, they actually did do pretty good in that fight. They were being pushed around and lifted up by Flippy, yes, but they weren't fully turned over until that last-minute rush there by Flippy to flip him up. And as Flippy get themselves at 3 points, Heartburst with 0. And as we go to our next fight, in the blue square is Ragnarok, and in the blue square, the red square is Hardware. Both of these robots are pretty good in their respective seasons. However, can they be better or for worse? Let's find out. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the battle begin. Ragnarok swinging that axe as much as it can. Ragnarok being lifted up there by Hardware, trying to get underneath, but it looks like it's stuck, I think. I don't know what's going on with Hardware right now, but they managed to get free, reset that lifter, and now trying to get underneath of Ragnarok again. It has a good hold of him, trying to lift him, but they just can't. Hardware managing to push back Ragnarok again. Can they lift him? I don't think so. Ragnarok is trying to cleave the top of Hardware with their axe-ish. Hardware managing to push back Ragnarok into the screws, but it doesn't work. Ragnarok is still going. Hardware probably needs to think his plans more forward if he's going to win this fight, or if it could go to a judge's decision, because I already know that Hardware is definitely winning in terms of staying aggressive and control to their opponent. But who's doing the more damage? I don't really know. Well, I guess that answers my question. A piece just comes off of Ragnarok's wedge. So I guess Hardware is technically winning this fight, as Hardware has a good hold of Ragnarok on the side of the wall. But now is pushing back Ragnarok into the side wall, staying nice and aggressive. This is what the judges would like to see from Hardware. Ragnarok, not so much. They're just continuously being pushed around by Hardware, and if Hardware could get a good lift, they could probably end the fight short. Although Ragnarok is a pretty tough opponent, there goes the top panel off of Hardware, but I guess that's more superficial damage, so I guess the both are somewhat tied for damage. But still, I'd rather say that Hardware is winning this fight in terms of all categories, maybe except damage. But now it's got a good hold of Ragnarok. Can they lift them over? I don't know. It pushes them into the sidewall. That's a good little shunt there from the DT Technic Hardware. That's a fake company, by the way. I want to remind you of that. Anyways, Hardware pushing back Ragnarok. Ragnarok managing to get a good push using the axe. That's a good aggression there with the weapon from Ragnarok, but still though, it's just being controlled around by Hardware. And Hardware looks like it's doing pretty good right now. Let's see what Hardware can do. He's pushing back Ragnarok and lifting himself over. That's not good for Hardware, as Ragnarok scaves away, as Hardware trying to push back Ragnarok. We're going to a judge's decision right now between these two robots. This is a really good fight, to be honest. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered a judge's decision. They awarded it unanimously to the winner, Hardware. That was a pretty good fight there. I would definitely say that Ragnarok was definitely being bullied around, although they did do some damage in taking off the top panel of Hardware, but it was mainly just Hardware just bullying Ragnarok throughout the whole arena. And well, I guess therefore Hardware takes the win. Anyways, next up, Heartburst gets back in the ring again as they face the rookies, Mantis. Mantis are so far a pretty good favorite going into the season. Can they bring that luck here, or will Heartburst shatter it because it's Heartburst? What more do you expect? 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the battle begin. Heartburst up to speed. Mantis moving out of her square, slowly but surely trundling along. Heartburst trying to come in with the hit. It does to the back of Mantis, although I don't really think that did much to Mantis, as Mantis is just moving around. Oh! Oh! The puncher! The puncher flies off of Mantis. Well, now we know Harper's is effective, but they just were put into the out of the arena zone by Mantis. Well, what a start for Heartburst. Immediately taking off the primary weapon of Mantis. But Mantis, with a nice little push onto the side of Heartburst, trying to maybe take back what's his, as Heartburst is just being pushed back into the sidewall on a near miss there by Mantis. Mantis coming from Eddie Incorporated, who you might see in a couple of previous videos. He did request this design, so we paid tribute to him and just gave him this. So I guess we'll call Mantis a channel robot, even though Eddie Incorporated is entirely a Hexbug channel. Anyways, Mantis pushing back Heartburst around the arena. Heartburst so far winning in terms of damage for knocking out the primary weapon. But I would say, I wouldn't be lying if Mantis was also doing good, because they're managing to push around Heartburst pretty easily, and there, with a big push, charging him into the side wall, and Mantis just leaving Heartburst alone, unless Heartburst gets free, and he does, as Mantis trying to push around Heartburst. They both are pretty even so far, with Heartburst finally doing damage for once in a while. Can we please see him win a fight? I don't really know, but Mantis is doing pretty good in terms of control and staying nice and aggressive, although same with Heartburst. So you could say this fight is pretty close. Mantis was trying to use the thing for his puncher to like try and do damage. Mac, I don't think you can do that much. Anyways, Heartburst tries to line up for a hit. They don't really, because of that plow on Mantis. If they push back Heartburst into the side wall, this is some good control and execution here by Mantis. Pushing him into the pulverizer goes Mantis. Heartburst just being repeatedly hammered by the pulverizer. Mantis continues to push him back. This is some good control here from Mantis. I don't really see much of the puncher, however, because it was completely scalped by Heartburst. As we go to another judge's decision, Heartburst pushing back Mantis. However, Mantis looks to be... Ladies and gentlemen, we've entered a judge's decision. We have a split decision. Judge 3 scored the battle for Heartburst. Judge 1 scored the battle for Mantis. And Judge 2 scored the battle for the winner, Mantis. I guess that was also a pretty good fight. Much like with Hardware and Ragnarok, it was mainly just Mantis controlling Heartburst, even if the primary weapon broke off. Still, though, it was some good damage by Heartburst to actually do something instead of just exist and then don't exist. Well, Mantis is going to get tied with Hardware for 2 points. Next up is Flippy versus Ragnarok. This should go well, and I hope it. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the battle begin. Ragnarok swinging their hammer. Flippy trying to line up their bucket scoop flipper. They managed to get underneath of Ragnarok and flip them on their side. And Ragnarok manages to get back. That's some good gymnastics there from Ragnarok, as they're being lifted up again by Flippy and controlled around the arena, but Ragnarok still staying good in control. Flippy trying to flip over Ragnarok again. However, it's still getting the good ground clearance and flipping Ragnarok on their side. What? Oh my god! Ragnarok just did a complete side wheelie and gets himself back. If that's not swag from Ragnarok, I don't know what is. Ragnarok is still getting back in the fight, but Flippy is just trying to take down Ragnarok, trying to get him out of the arena. Because I don't think flipping him on their side is not going to be good. Because he's just going to freaking, I don't know, no-scope Flippy with the amount of swag he's doing with the freaking side wheelie. That was amazing by Ragnarok, but is Ragnarok doing good? No, it is not. It's being continuously lifted by Flippy, so at least Flippy does have the advantage so far in terms of this fight. Flippy resets their flipper, getting underneath of Ragnarok and controlling him around the arena. Can he maybe go for the screws, baby? Or can Ragnarok pull off another side wheelie, hopefully? I'd be really grateful if that happens. Anyways, Flippy flips up Ragnarok into the screws, and yeah, it looks like Ragnarok's swag is going to go down the drain. Well, at least Ragnarok had a good run. However, all things must come to an end. I guess Flippy's just going to take the win nonetheless. What a win for Flippy. Well, as the good old saying goes, nothing gold could stay. And the golden moments with Ragnarok will not be... I don't know. They won't be back. I don't really know. It depends with how Ragnarok will go for the rest of the season. But, you know, another good win for Flippy, as it was basically just Ragnarok doing wheelies, and it was very funny. Well, in any cases, our next fight in the blue square is Mantis and Hardware in the red. Both are tied with 2 points, but that will change. Will it be the fan favorite or the duck mishap? That looks like Comrade, but let's find out. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bot battle begin. A fast start from Hardware, getting their lifter set and going after Mantis. However, Hardware goes up into the screws. What are they thinking right now? They get free though, and they're stuck on the screws again. However, both times Mantis hasn't really taken advantage of both of them, unfortunately. I don't know if that's a thing with Mantis right now, but I don't know. Mantis doesn't seem to be going too good right now, as Hardware rams himself into the wall for some reason. It's trying to get back. Mantis, I think they're stuck in the arena, or they just completely died. Anyways, Mantis being pushed around by Hardware. The puncher goes flailing as usual, although I don't really know if that puncher is going to be effective to a more lower robot like Hardware. Anyways, Hardware resets their lifter, try to get back in. Mantis is right there on the offensive. Hardware trying to scave away. Look at the puncher. I think it's one of the greatest things ever brought to Hexbug mankind, is a robot with a somewhat functioning puncher. Like, where are you more going to see that from? Bale Spear? A Hexbug Bale Spear, potentially? I don't know. I never seen that, so I can't be for certain. Anyways, Mantis is trying to move. It uses the puncher. It's one of the weapons of all time this year. Mantis with the puncher. It's extremely funny. However, I don't really think it's doing much to Hardware. If anything, it's just damaging the arena. Stop doing that. This was really expensive, and I don't think my wallet is going to recover from this. Anyways, Hardware just takes off his own top panel for some reason. Mantis is having a really hard time trying to translate across the arena. Hardware trying to land a hit, but it gets scooped up by Mantis, and its face is getting punched. It's getting squared in the face by Mantis Tyson. I don't even know how to commentate this fight. It's just Mantis with the puncher and Hardware being squared in the face, as Hardware is just trying to push Mantis back. Mantis is still stuck in the same damn arena. Anyways, but Hardware managing to finally get a lift in on Mantis. However, Mantis is still staying, although Hardware gets underneath of Mantis and has him stuck in the arena. Well, I guess Mantis' reign of terror ends here. Hardware gets a 3 points. Well, that was another goofy way that a robot could be over with. Mantis gets himself stuck on his side at the back wall, and well, Hardware takes the 3 points. He's still stuck in second place behind Flippy, so he'll have to catch up in order to get more. But in any cases, our next fight features Heartburst Redux and Ragnarok. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Let's just start the fight. 3, 2, 1. Let the bot battle begin. Heartburst and Ragnarok. Ragnarok hammering the spinner of Heartburst Redux to start the fight, as the two go around. I don't really think much is happening right now, but yeah, because the fight started, duh. Anyways, Heartburst gets himself stuck in the screws. I don't think that's a good idea if you're the team of Heartburst. Oh! The screws actually get stuck on Heartburst's spinner. Well, that was quick and painless, as Ragnarok takes 3 points. Don't mess with this robot. Well, now it looks like Ragnarok has finally decided to wake up this year and actually do something. I mean, to their credit, Heartburst just drove into the screws themselves, so I can't really blame them there. But in any cases, we have a rematch from last year's Hexbots Hunters 2. It was the final fight before the final bounty against Aquatic Disaster. It's Flippy in the blue and Hardware in the red. Flippy has 6 points, Hardware has 5. Who will get the win? I don't really know. I'm probably guessing Flippy, although Hardware is a pretty good robot this year, so let's see who wins. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bot battle begin. 2 lifters of different designs. Flippy, a bucket scoop flipper, and Hardware, a wedge lifter. Anyways, Hardware trying to move back. Flippy, I don't know what they're doing. It's trying to reset its lifter, and it does. Hardware so far looks to have the ground game so far, so props to Hardware as they're getting underneath of Flippy and maybe trying to flip him over. Although a track has come off of Flippy, this has happened with its new design in the final of the 4th of July special, the recent one, as it lost to Viper Shot in the final. Flippy's going to make sure it doesn't happen and aims to get Hardware out of here and hopefully secure an undefeated streak. We'll see with Flippy. However, Hardware's doing a good job of staying in control, and that other track comes off. So I guess Flippy's reign of terror of trying to get the full 12 points is thrown in the garbage. Well, Flippy, they're going to be really mad about this loss. Hardware going to take another 3 points. What a win for this robot. I could see him being a dark horse. And the rematch concludes with Hardware taking the win and now taking the lead, surging up to 8 points. Flippy back with 6 once again. I thought Flippy would do well this year. They made the 2nd place in the recent 4th of July special, but here they're winning, but at what cost? I mean, they are at 6th place, so what more do you want? Anyways, next up we've got Ragnarok in its last fight against Mantis. So let's see how they do. If they could get another win, who knows? They could potentially make it to the tournament this year. Although with Mantis, it's a pretty hard case, so we'll see who takes it. 3, 2, 1, activate. Let the bots battle begin. Mantis getting the puncher up to speed, and Ragnarok hammering away. Mantis is having a bit of some tiring times of trying to move. So far, Mantis has 2 points, winning a judge's decision to, Heartburst Redux, and Ragnarok on his last fight, lost a decision against Hardware, lost to, Flippy, and I believe won a fight against Heartburst Redux. So it's on 4 points right now, and hopefully a win here could probably see them go to the tournament or something else. Mantis is having a bit of a hard time trying to move, as Ragnarok is just going all out right now, as Mantis is just literally just done jack nothing right now. As Mantis trying to move away. Can Ragnarok, sorry for hitting the camera. Can Ragnarok do something? I don't know. It's kind of stuck right now, but it's free. Mantis is trying. Oh, it's barely moving. Mantis is like Basilisk. Whenever you see it, you see dread, but like when it actually works, it's pretty funny. And it's kind of rare for Basilisk, but Mantis is pretty fun right now. Just look at the little puncher go. I mean, yeah, it doesn't do anything. Like, if anything, it's a failed experiment, just like come out of nowhere. But it's great fun seeing Mantis in the arena with the puncher. It's extremely funny. But how effective is that weapon, you might be asking? Short answer, it isn't entirely. But you will always start somewhere. That's the advice I'll likely give you if you ever decide to make Hexbugs. I hope you do. Anyways, Mantis firing away the puncher. Ragnarok trying to move. Mantis is also having a hard time translating around the arena. It feels like it's on ice right now. And Ragnarok managing to get underneath of Mantis and push him back into the pulverizer. Good work there from Ragnarok. Can't wait for hardware. Mantis being stuck in the arena. I don't really think it's doing much. Mantis being pushed around by Ragnarok. Who's winning in damage? No one. But who's winning in control and aggression? I might say Ragnarok, because they're at least being the more effective machine. And Mantis is just struggling to translate across the arena. Nor is that puncher working. I mean, unless a big miracle happens with Mantis, and like it actually pulls off something, then I don't really think Mantis can really win this fight. And yeah, we're going to a judge's decision. I feel like Ragnarok has this in the bag. Mantis, not so much. But hey, it's their decision, not mine. Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered a judge's decision. They awarded it unanimously to the winner, Ragnarok. Well, that was a good performance there for Ragnarok. They go on with 6 points. I'm not too sure if it'll be enough for them to make it to the tournament, but who knows? It could at least lead them to the 3rd place Desperado tournament, and at least gets them into some tournament in any way, shape, or form, as they now are tied in 2nd or 3rd, I guess, with Flippy, and Mantis has 3 points. I mean, it's better than being last, other than being compared to Heartburst Redux, who is going in the fight for the last time against Hardware. Hardware really needs another knockout to hopefully get a higher seed. But let's see what it could do against Heartburst. 3, 2, 1. Let the battle begin. This is somewhat for bragging rights for Hardware. Heartburst gets up to speed and now tries to land a hit on Hardware, but is stuck in the screws again. But Hardware is being a good sport and allowing Heartburst to try and actually give him a fight. Although they're kind of stuck right now. As Hardware... Oh, never mind. Screw what I just said. Hardware is just... It's going to be rude. It just chucks Heartburst Redux out of the arena. Well, the Goober is gone. Hardware get 11 points. Wow. Well, that makes yet another robot thwarted by the plans of a judge's decision. If Hardware could have won that one knockout fight against Ragnarok, I think they might have also been a really high seed. I guess as of now, it's still Komodo Dragon with the full 12 points. This is a real rarity this season. But in any cases, we have our last fight between Flippy and Mantis. If Mantis can win by a knockout, then we will have another Rumble, where again, one robot loses, one goes to the Desperado tournament, and the other goes to the main tournament. But obviously, we'll see how Mantis does, and if Flippy could get him out of the arena, then it will guarantee him a spot in the tournament, and Mantis out of here. Well, let's find out. 3, 2, 1. Let the battle begin. Mantis, the first one to move, gets caught in Flippy's bucket scoop, flailing the puncher madly. I don't really think it's going really good so far for Mantis, as they're completely flipped over. Well, did Mantis really stand a chance against Flippy? Did it up against a veteran flipper like Flippy? Flippy is just trying to flip Mantis out of the arena. I mean, you might as well say Mantis is done for the season. However, Flippy, go on to the tournament. What a run for him. Well, that will do for this heat. Congratulations to Hardware and Flippy for making the tournament. Hardware with 11 points and Flippy with 9 points. Though Flippy is not going to get a top 4 seed again this year, at least Hardware will get a very good seed in its sophomore season. And Ragnarok, for once in its dang life, actually goes to a tournament, that being the Desperado tournament. And unfortunately sitting out are the updated Heartburst and Mantis. Well, it's been a good season so far, but we have our final heat with... Yeah, that's right. You hear the music. Thunderstrike is coming back. As well as Icebreaker, Chaotic Doom, Gravestone, and Toxic Drake. We'll see you for the next heat.